Welcome back to the channel. This is a place where science meets your daily life, and today, we're diving into a topic that is both fascinating and a bit terrifying: microplastics in your brain. Before we begin, take a moment to imagine this scenario. You're at home after a busy day, feeling the need to relax and unwind. You open a bottle of water, quench your thirst, and then pop the cap back on, tossing it aside casually. But wait. Did you realize that in that moment you might have just consumed a tiny piece of plastic? It sounds preposterous, yet it's a reality we're increasingly facing. As you drink, millions of microscopic plastic particles find their way into your body, eventually making their way into your brain. These tiny invaders can trigger inflammation, leading to brain fog, memory issues, and even neurological diseases like Alzheimer's. Some studies even indicate that they might be interfering with your emotions and mental health. Imagine a future where plastic particles become a significant contributor to mental health problems. It's a chilling thought, isn't it? Yet this isn't a scene from a dystopian film. It's our current reality. In today's episode, we're breaking down this critical issue into 3 digestible parts. First, we'll explore how these microplastics invade your body. Then we'll delve into the alarming ways they affect your brain. And finally, I'll equip you with actionable steps to shield yourself against this invisible threat. So buckle up. This is a journey that will change the way you view everyday items like water bottles and even seafood. I want to kick things off with an eye-opening statistic. According to research, we humans are unknowingly ingesting over 12,000 tons of plastic every year. That's the equivalent of nearly 70 aircraft carriers filled to the brim with plastic. Where exactly is all this plastic coming from? The culprits are lurking closer than you might think. Plastic water bottles, a seemingly safe choice for staying hydrated, can actually introduce thousands of microplastic particles into your system. Seafood, a staple in many diets, is also a potential source. With fish inadvertently ingesting plastic from contaminated waters, these particles ultimately find their way onto our plates. Even the air we breathe and the cosmetics we use can harbor microplastics. It's a pervasive problem that's deeply embedded in our daily lives. But hold on a second. You might be thinking, I recycle, I avoid single-use plastics, I compost. Aren't those steps enough to keep me safe? Unfortunately, no. As discarded plastic ages, it breaks down into particles smaller than a sesame seed called microplastics. These particles, along with nanoplastics even smaller than microplastics, are now a part of our everyday environment. They contaminate the water we drink, the food we eat, even the air we breathe. It's almost impossible to avoid them. And when we do ingest them, they can wreak havoc on our bodies. Microplastics enter our systems through 3 primary routes: ingestion, inhalation, and skin absorption. We ingest them when we consume contaminated food or drink from plastic containers or bottles. Inhalation happens when we breathe in particles suspended in the air. And finally, skin absorption occurs when we come into contact with plastic-laden water or cosmetics. Once inside our bodies, these particles embark on a journey that can lead them to some of the most vital organs in our bodies, including our brains. The idea of plastic particles infiltrating our brains might sound like a plot from a futuristic thriller, but it's a stark reality we're facing. A groundbreaking study published in 2022 made a shocking discovery. It revealed the presence of microplastics in human blood for the first time, confirming what many researchers suspected: that microplastics have indeed infiltrated our bloodstream, and this discovery was just the beginning. Subsequent studies have unveiled the alarming truth that these particles aren't just circulating in our blood. They're crossing the blood-brain barrier and setting up shop in our brains. This raises a crucial question: what exactly is happening there? In this section, we'll dive deep into the impact of microplastics on our brains. To understand the implications of microplastics in our brains, let's start with the basics. Our brain is a complex network of neurons that rely on a delicate balance of chemicals and electrical signals to function. It's a high-performance machine that controls everything from our thoughts and emotions to movement and memory. When this intricate system is disrupted, the consequences can be significant. One of the primary concerns is the potential for microplastics to trigger inflammation in the brain. Chronic inflammation has been linked to various neurological disorders, including Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, and multiple sclerosis. Microplastics may also compromise the integrity of the blood-brain barrier, which acts as a shield against harmful substances. A compromised barrier could allow toxins and pathogens to enter the brain, potentially leading to infections or other neurological issues. Moreover, these particles might interfere with neurotransmitters, the chemical messengers that facilitate communication between brain cells. Such interference could have profound effects on our mood, cognition, and overall brain function. It's essential to recognize that while individual pieces of plastic may seem harmless, their cumulative effect can be detrimental. Over time, the buildup of these particles in our brains could have lasting consequences. The implications of these findings are profound. If left unchecked, the presence of microplastics in our brains could contribute to a range of neurological disorders and cognitive decline. It underscores the urgency of understanding and mitigating this issue before it escalates further. So, what can you do to protect yourself from the threat of microplastics? Well, start with your daily essentials like water bottles and food packaging. Opt for glass or stainless steel water bottles instead of plastic ones. Be cautious when heating food in plastic containers, and consider switching to glass or ceramic alternatives. Also, prioritize fresh, unprocessed food as packaged foods are more susceptible to plastic contamination. And don't forget to check your filters. Ensure that your water filter effectively removes microplastics before you drink. Each of these steps might seem insignificant on its own, but collectively, they can make a substantial difference. By reducing your plastic footprint, you're also safeguarding your brain health, and it doesn't stop there. Our actions can also influence the broader conversation surrounding plastic waste. By making conscious choices, you're not just protecting yourself, you're advocating for a safer, more sustainable future for everyone. Now here's a fun fact to blow your mind. Did you know that the average American swallows a pound of plastic during their lifetime? That's the equivalent of a small child holding up a brick. This staggering figure highlights the pervasiveness of plastic in our daily lives. And it's not just about the weight. Each piece of plastic ingested represents a potential threat to our health. Plastic particles can accumulate in our bodies over time, forming what's known as the plastic age. These particles can disrupt our hormonal balance, impair our reproductive health, and even compromise our immune systems. The scary part is that the long-term effects of this plastic age are still largely unknown. We're only beginning to understand the potential risks and implications for human health. Imagine a world where plastic waste is no longer a distant problem, but a tangible threat that looms over our daily lives. It might sound like a grim outlook, but it's the reality we're facing unless we take action. The problem of plastic waste isn't just about overflowing landfills or unsightly beaches. It's about the particles that are silently invading our bodies and finding their way into our brains. As we wrap up today's discussion, remember that every small step counts. From the choices we make in our daily lives to the conversations we have with friends and family, we all have a role to play. By educating ourselves and others, supporting sustainable practices, and demanding accountability from corporations, we can chip away at this plastic tide. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to the channel. Let's continue the conversation in the comments section below. What steps are you taking to reduce your plastic footprint? Together, we can make a difference. Thank you for joining us today. See you in the next episode.